segue into team culture a little bit. The big thing is, how do we get there? Like, how do we make this happen? Well, first of all, it's jointly owned, okay? So I already told you earlier that team culture starts with a coach. I did a presentation at the CIL conference, and the first thing I asked the coaches is, how important is culture to you? Because if it's not important, they're not going to put any effort. That's the truth of it. And as an athlete, that can be frustrating because it's your coach that dictates what takes place in your teams. So if you got a technical coach, that's great. Technical is one aspect of coaching. Okay? But culture, it's okay, you're not going to bother me if it makes noise in your yogurt. It's a very fancy mason jars. Did you make that yourself? Did you make that yourself or someone do it for you? No, sweet, nice. So this is important to me, so it's going to be in our teams. But if your coach is not important, what I would say to you is if you're a head coach and you don't really value culture, then get an assistant coach that can help you with this piece. Because if you don't address it, things are going to fall apart. I guarantee it. Okay? Our job is to select athletes that fit into the culture, and then we can build it collectively as a unified group. The keys, you almost see the words are unified, we, us, team. Okay? No one is bigger than the team, including the coaches. Create a team building opportunity out of the gym in a setting that allows coaches and players to bond. So I'm big on one of the things that we did this summer, and I was very fortunate to work with Matt because Matt just said, like, I trust you, do this stuff, it's important. And so one of the things that we did that our guys really liked is we brought a couple of guys that work at Madawaska for me, and they're team building facilitators, and we just got out of the way, like the coaches just did this, and we let these guys go, and our players loved it, and it came up in a lot of their post feedback that day they loved it. They climbed the ladder without the ladder against anything, and they got bit by bugs. I remember the bugs were brutal that day, and I'm like, yeah, well, that's adversity. When we're down by 3 points in the 5th set of the Canada Games, if we haven't faced some adversity before today, we're going to fail. I remember you had your legs chomped on, and the bugs were bad that day. I remember them, and I'm like, we're not going to die because we're getting bit by bugs. We're all getting bit by bugs here. We got to get every guy over the ladder. And a lot of those guys remembered that day. That had nothing to do, we just got out of the way. We brought in people that were good at it and said, our guys need some time together and we want to be involved in that. And so creating those opportunities is huge. Again, I think the key here is, get to know each other. This idea that coaches are over here and athletes are over here, that's old school. That's old school. Okay? Don't have any illusions that we're equal. We're not equal. There's still some hierarchy within a team structure. It's not like you make the decisions and tell me how to coach. That ain't gonna go well. But I want your involvement and engagement so how we can be collectively better, and you have some say in that. One of the things I think we need to teach kids is when they're frustrated is give them skills to be able to communicate with coaches in a way that as coaches, we don't get threatened by it. I want the players to come to us and ask us good questions. I want the players to challenge us. Okay? Because then we're better together. This idea that the players can approach you, that's a recipe for disaster. Okay? We already talked about shared values. The big one about developing your mission statement that's important is that you own it. I keep a little book. It's in good shape because it's been tossed a few times, but if you have a good metal binding, the books hold up really well. In the book, because I'm a mission statement junkie, is I have the last 5 mission statements of the last 5 Team Ontario teams I've been involved with. So this obviously meant something to me because I cut it off my bag, and I taped it in my book, and I was looking at them yesterday actually because it's amazing that they're all uniquely different because each team is uniquely different. But this was the standard that we said, we, meaning the players to the coaches, that we would hold ourselves to. So these are great tools because when things break down in your gym, this idea of running suicides and yelling at your kids, that's old school. I don't think, in the 6 weeks that we trained together this summer, I don't think they ran 5 lines. Am I wrong? I don't think you ran 5 lines. Were we happy all the time? No, you can be close smiling. No, we weren't happy all the time. But when you weren't running lines, you weren't being yelled at. These are great refocusing tools. So what we did, and I'm a big believer in this too, is the more you're around this stuff, the more you believe in it. The more you believe in it, the more you become it. Okay? So this was above our door. and it was always on our walls. So if things broke down, just told the guys to go get a drink, take a minute. Sometimes we would go talk to the athletes, sometimes we wouldn't. Make sure you touch the door when you come back in. You touching the door means you're recommitted to the process. To the standard to which you said you were going to do. Not us, you. I don't have to sell you on what you said was important. You said it was important. So it becomes the minimal standard, and we'll never let you off the hook with that. You're never allowed off the hook with that. We got to go back and revisit it, we will. Okay? So this is, for me, once you build all this stuff, show some pride. We had signs that came with us everywhere we went. They were on the bags. They were on the walls. You know, sort of the own them, become them. And one of the things that I think that we did a really good job of, and this was Coach Harris's idea, and we started working on it together, is we went to Florida. Obviously, we had a better result than I think anybody anticipated, but that's great. We move on. Then we had meetings with all of our players. We created these roll cards for each player. They were personalized. And on the roll card, it had the name that they had, the quality that they had said was important to them, their name, the quality, and then on the back was 2 or 3 positive bullets about things that they did that contribute to team success. That's all that was on the cards. So their name. Do you remember what your word was?
Eager.
Yes, what was yours?
I think it was dedication.
It was. What was yours? Okay, so we're getting the idea. I could go all the way around. So on it was their name, the word, and on the other side were things that they could do to positively impact our team. Okay? So they got these cards, they knew their roles, it was positive, and they kept them with them all the time. So that clear and concise communication already took place. So there were times when kids wanted to play out of their roles, started to do things that we didn't want them to do, that affected the things they were good at. Whoa. Let's get you back over here to what you're good at. Let's do this all the time and let's build on this. Not, let's forget what we're good at and try to be good over here. Does that make sense? So there's lots of ways to do this. But you got to get it around you. It's got to be around you all the time. Okay, goal setting. How many guys in here honestly set goals? And please don't tell me you want to make the junior national team if you're 16. That's not a bad goal, but what should your goal be before that? Even before that.
Like when you come into practice, you have like a specific skill you want to
Now we're heating up. We're working on the things that will allow us to be successful later. Because so many kids say the buzzwords, like I want to play, I hear this a lot, I want to play pro. Right? I hear that one a lot. I want to play pro. I want to play pro too. But the truth of the matter is I ain't playing pro. Some of you might. But there's a lot of things along the way that you have to do to get there. And remember when I brought you all the way back to the first slide, it was about your personal leadership, and 7 of you admitted that you rolled out. I think you need to do that stuff first. Doesn't mean you can't get there. And don't ever let anyone take away your dreams. I hate dream stealers. Where you have a dream and something you want and someone says you can't do it. Get away from those people. Get away from people that use the word can't. Make sense? You can't do that. Whoa, I'm not hanging around you. I'll try until I decide that I can't do it anymore because I've decided I'm not going to do it, not because someone else tells me I can't do it. Okay? I've had some conversations with people lately that were questioning if they can play on a university team next year, and I'm like, of course you can, but they're in this cycle of self-doubt, which can be really dangerous, where they don't see value in themselves. And that's a terrible thing. Okay, so don't let people do that to you. I'm big on player meetings. I like them at the beginning of the season, middle of the season, and the end of the season. I was saying this to Frank and Kevin and Brock last night, that one of the things that was frustrating is we never really got formal exit interviews with our Canada Games guys. It was very exciting, we won, everyone was happy, we got off and playing in peace. I haven't seen some of those guys since. Closure would have been nice to still give those kids things to work on to get to their next goal. Because their work wasn't done the day that we came off the plane from Winnipeg. Does that make sense? So I think feedback's important. You're the athlete, you tell me, you don't get chosen for a program and you don't get any feedback. Is that frustrating? It should be frustrating. It should be frustrating. Not because if you want to pout about why you got cut, I don't have any time for you. If you want to find out what our decision-making process was and what you can do to get better, I have all the time in the world for you. Okay? That's we working together, not me feeling sorry for myself. Okay? I'm not a big feel sorry for myself kind of guy. Concepts for coaches, there's a ball concept, it's kind of cool, so, and this works out really well, actually. So you have one volleyball, the head coach would present it the first practice only to an athlete that worked hard in that practice to represent some core values. It's kind of a feeling type thing, so, and then that athlete gets assigned the ball, keeps it till the next practice, they're responsible for the ball, the Sharpie, and then they come and present the ball at the next practice to some other teammate. Obviously, the goal is at the end, everybody's name's on the ball, and something positive has been said with everybody, and then you're building cohesive units. This year we did it with a helmet. It was kind of our thing this summer, but all different concepts, okay? Program-wide team building weekends, they build unity, whether it's in a club or setting, okay? Next slide. We're wrapping up here soon, which is good. Okay, tips for player success. So this is some stuff for you guys. So I like keywords. So another coaching tactic here is you sit down and you ask your players to give you one word that makes them smile. And you're gonna get random stuff, I'm telling you right now, which is kind of great. You need to write it down somewhere that's private. It's between you and your athlete. It's a word that when they say it, they immediately smile. So it's usually goofy stuff, okay? The idea is when you create positive vibes in your body, you release positive energy. It's very hard to be negative when you smile. Try it, it's really hard. I don't, if you can do it, you're really impressive. Like if you can actually be cranky when you're laughing, is a hard thing to do, okay? So the idea is to release positive energy, okay? So I write the keywords down, and when I see an athlete getting to the point where they're beating themselves up so much that it's becoming a negative moment for them, there's two things I can do. I can try to get them out of that moment, or I might need to save them from themselves. Sometimes when you're being taken out of a game, it's not about your performance. If a good coach sees that you're beating yourself too much, a good coach should take you out, refocus you, put you back in. Okay? So the nice thing about the keyword is I can look right at Mark, he gives me his keyword, privately I say something to him, he smiles, he goes back to work. So keywords really do work, and they're individual for each player. Journals. We talk about journals as much as we talk about warriors almost, okay? So we all need to have a journal. And I'm just gonna have some fun with you, Grant, because I already did when you weren't here, and I wanna be honest and make fun of you when you're here, okay? So this is Grant's journal. Now, this doesn't mean you can't put it in a binder, okay? But I get worried when I see kids take notes, and then I wonder where they go later. I'm not picking on this, okay? So I think if you're really committed, you're gonna buy a journal that's part of your bag. It will probably smell like your knee pads after a while. That's not a bad thing. And it's with your water bottle, and it's part of your core gear, okay? Because it's very important for two reasons. One, you want to track your own performance and create your recipe for success. So whenever athletes have great performances, in the setting that we were in, we would ask them to track that performance. What did you eat? How much did you sleep? What were you thinking about before you got here? What happened yesterday? And then they're answering it, and the more that they can recreate those moments, the probability, it's not a certainty, but the probability would go up that they will perform better. Well, if you're not tracking that, it's very difficult to figure out. So if you want to be a high-performance athlete, and you put your name up and told me you want to play in the junior national team, and you're not tracking your own performance, there's a gap. Just being honest with you, okay? Because you're taking ownership and responsibility, so that's huge. You can track your workouts, what you eat, how much you sleep. It's private, it's yours. You could write a pearl of wisdom, something that you took out of a practice that you liked. It's yours. So journals are good, okay? Having 12 journals is a problem because it's hard to collect your thoughts when you need them when you're traveling. Okay, so it's a good investment. You can, like I said, you can buy whether it's 50 cents a Staples or 20 bucks, whatever you want. You should have a journal. And I know through the last few summers you've been given books. I've seen them. So that's a start. And then you can create your own, all right? We do mental training worksheets. This is a more advanced skill, but it's a skill that puts you in a good headspace. So we would have individual meetings, ask guys what they were going through, how they were feeling, what they were thinking, and try to redirect their thoughts on the same pathway. All right? Breathing and visualization. Again, these are advanced skills, but these are things you should be starting to dabble in. Breathing is huge. It's a very quick way to calm yourself. And I'm big in visualization because I think the more that you see yourself being successful, you'll become successful. I really believe that. I think the more that you see yourself in a good way, that's a good thing. Which is sort of the retraining of the brain, which would be the Kyle stuff. So this power of positive thinking, seeing yourself doing things well, the ability to calm yourself. You're really training your brain. And you have to train it. Because if you're already a person that's very hard on yourself, it's hard to train yourself out of that, okay? But you have to train your brain, okay? And you've heard this expression before, but play in the now, which means you're not worried about your last contact, and you know that you can't predict what the other team's going to do, but you can play in the now. And a lot of you are still working on this skill, but when you get it, you'll get it, okay? And a big thing that coaches have to do is you have to train stress. So you need to create random and adverse situations. That coaches have to do that. It was a good point yesterday. You guys were hitting down balls at each other, and I had said the same thing earlier, but in the group I was with, I said last I checked, nobody hits an easy ball right at you. Like if they do, they're not very good. But you were doing that to each other yesterday. So we want to create, that's a simple way of creating some adversity, okay? All right, so some closing comments, so we're right on schedule here. Athlete performance graph. So I really like this. I just got this Pro. It's not new, but I really liked it. So I was just somewhere. I had the benefit of doing a professional development course last week. And it was actually taught, it was very interesting, it was taught by 2 theater directors. And they had all the coaches from every team of where I'm working now. There's like 40 people in the room, totally different backgrounds. I worked with a tennis guy and a golf guy, and it was really cool. And so we did a lot of improv, a lot of communication. It was, everybody had to get their box because you're meeting people, so that gets into the attitude of gratitude. One of the things that I also took out of this was this, and I didn't get it from there, but I got it the same day, and I wrote it down, and it really resonated with me. And if you've seen it before as a coach, I apologize. As an athlete, I don't think you've seen this. This is your classic, okay. This is your development. Okay, so when you're at 14U, this is the work side, this is the reward side. Does that make sense? The work side, how much work I have to do, versus how much reward I get. Okay? But when you're 14U and you're tall and your coach puts you in the middle because they're specializing you at an age that they're not supposed to, but they want to win, that ever happened to you? Anybody have to play middle when they were young and then don't play middle now? Middle's not a bad thing, So you work this hard because things come quick, you develop quickly, and you get a lot of growth reward. This is your work, okay? And this is the reward you get from your work. Okay? The scale goes this way. Okay? And a lot of you are right here right now, which is kind of the magic void. Okay? A lot of you are working, okay, harder than you did before, but not as hard as you're going to have to later, because you're still getting some reward. And this is kind of where we start to lose athletes. Okay? The high performance model of where you want to get to, when you're an elite athlete and you want to play in the junior national team or the national B team or the full-time training center or the A team or pro, those guys are working this hard all the time to get this much reward. You see the difference? Who's willing to work this hard all the time to get this much reward? Well, this takes a special person. These are the guys that are playing at the next level. Okay? So when it was easy, as it was earlier, because you're physically good athletes, you got a lot of this, but a lot of you are here right now. You're putting in the time because you want the reward. The real question is, how many of you are going to get to here? Those will be the ones that are fulfilling the goals that you talked about today. So this hit home. I liked this. Whether you like it or not, I liked it. So. Okay, so that's the performance graph. Okay, the last one I'm going to leave you with, and this came out of the course. I loved this one. Okay, so this embracing an attitude of gratitude. If you honestly start to embrace this personally, and you get it in your teams, you're going to be in a better space on your own. Okay? So this idea that, so on teams, I don't care what team you play on, the program offers you this, and you offer this. This is the perfect storm. Okay? Now, I know kids that give tons of effort and want very little out of the program. That's just the way they are. But what I'm seeing more is kids that are working this hard, but are getting this out of the program. Does that make sense? The scales are completely out of whack here. Okay? At the very minimum, they should be this, equal, or you should be giving more than you're taking. So you need to embrace an attitude of gratitude. Are you thankful for the opportunity to be here? Do you think there are kids that want to be here that are not? I'm sure there are. But how much gratitude through your efforts, your actions, your language, your behavior are you demonstrating to show gratitude for the opportunity to be here? It's great that you're going to France, some of you, but what are you going to do between today and then? Okay, to deserve that opportunity. Okay. So I really like this. Are you thankful for the opportunity? Every team has givers and takers. Which one are you? Coaches will need to weed out the takers and get athletes that are most aligned with giving to the program. When you have this culture, you're usually the most successful, and that is not measured by winning. There are lots of good teams that don't win. That's sport. Okay. But what are you going to get after that? How are you going to be in your everyday walk of life with school and family and social and volleyball? Okay? I'm big on hellos and thank yous, so I'm going to give you a compliment and an observation. I've already beat you up on not speaking yesterday. I think we can be better about that. But I will say, last night, many of you came and thanked the coaches. I was impressed by it. Now, whether that's one or two people took the initiative and the rest followed, I don't care. It happened. A philosophy that I have is every single athlete should thank their teammates and coaches at the end of practice. This idea that you can just walk out of practice and not say thank you makes me bonkers. And it's on the wall here, but I've never forgotten an athlete that said thank you. I've forgotten tons that haven't. Okay, it's a simple action. Okay? The best athlete experience is based upon a cohesive group environment where people grow, improve, live with no regrets. Okay? I don't think there's much there. Good luck, and thanks for listening. Did you get anything out of this? Honestly, if you didn't. Okay, good. Show me, just hold up the cue cards. Okay, that's good. All right, so you have a responsibility to collect your stuff, have your things, hydrate. I know we're starting at 10, correct, Coach? So I'll let you direct from there, but thank you for your time. If anybody wants this presentation, you can speak to me and I'll be happy to email it to you. Okay. All right, thanks for your time, guys. Well done.